Welcome to Reactive Reload. I'm just one of your hosts, Irish Cowboy, joined by your other host, Crossover, where you're going to be reloading the gaming news from the last week or so and reacting to it. I know. We're going to be talking about Gamescom, the new Batman movie and game. For the main event, Kathleen, I'll bet you weren't having a bad time until I said her name, Kennedy. That's Kathleen with a K. I'd probably spell it with a C, a capital C. All right, so Gamescom, it's coming up. It's going to be here in about a couple days, Thursday at 2 p.m. And Santa Keeley says that he has a surprise for us. Not in the way that I just said it, but Santa Keeley said we may have a few things in store, a few little surprises. Which there's an alignment going on here. Crossover is when. So the opening day of Gamescom is going to be also the closing day of the Summer Games Fest. So I gotta say, everyone on YouTube, everyone on the internet right now, they are not even talking about that this could be the day or the night that we see the Series X up for pre-order. In fact, they're saying the opposite. They are now leaning more towards that it's going to be in September, which I think is true for the Series S. But I think for the Series X, the big boy buck here, we're going to see Xbox Series X right here this week. I know it's a crazy prediction, right? But I think that's a surprise. And he says we're going to see much more, according to him. But if it's not on Thursday, which would be the perfect day, because the alignment of the closing of the Summer Games Fest and the opening of Gamescom, where Xbox put the Scorpio edition on pre-order back in 2017. They did that on a Sunday, and that almost got me when that happened. When I woke up at 1 and I was able to get one from GameStop right off the bat. I barely missed it. It sold out so soon, and this is going to sell out big time too. If it doesn't happen on Thursday, then it's going to be Sunday, because Phil Spencer might some kind of symmetry there. I don't know, but what I'm thinking is that we're actually going to see it this weekend, if not earlier, by Thursday. So
you're starting this off with a bold ass prediction.
Bold. I wanted to go bold
ass prediction
because no one else is thinking this way right now. Maybe a couple people.
Yeah. So you're referencing the Q&A that Santa Knightley did.
Yep.
Keeley. I'm sorry, Santa Keeley. And in there, to me, there wasn't that much. It was a lot of fluff.
Right.
It was a lot of. We're excited. He talked about how he had kind of built the Summer Games event. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. But I think you're right. I think they're going to go all out for Gamescom. I don't know. I do think that the Xbox Series X has to be put up for pre-order soon.
Yes.
Because it does come out in November.
People are losing hope.
There is a chance that they're delaying it because of COVID, and they really want to make sure that they can get, X number of units or something like that out.
The stare down thing, I think, is bullshit. I don't think they're waiting to reveal price. I think they know exactly, and they have to make these plans for prices in advance. Everyone's just can they just stop staring at each other? I just don't buy into it.
So Keeley, though, he pushed back against this, but I think there is merit to it. Gamescom last year was pretty much the indie game show, which is fine because the indie games are very healthy for the gaming environment. Mm-hmm. But with no E3 this year, I think that Gamescom is where they are going to go, because it just wasn't plausible to get an online event ready for E3, which is why probably they canceled it twice.
Yeah.
Gamescom. Well, I imagine that they canceled it the first night because of COVID. Then they're like, whoa, wait, that's a little bit rash. Let's see if we can get something online together. Then it just kind of proved that it wasn't going to be possible.
Absolutely.
And so from there, they were like, okay, now let's cancel it officially. So I do think that there's going to be a lot of big titles that are going to be there this year.
Yes.
Dropping the Series X there would be huge.
It would be.
It would kind of kick things off because Sony would have to do something pretty quickly. I mean, I guess they could wait, but they would definitely have to do something quickly.
It's been suspiciously quiet from Xbox. They've had a couple guys, their main guys, Aaron Greenberg and Phil Spencer, they haven't been saying as much lately, especially after the little chips conference they had detailing the architecture and what it can do. But when you always have a feeling when these things are going to happen when it starts raining. Basically, you know what I mean? Like you start seeing little sprinkles here and there of infos and leaks coming out. We haven't seen that. Like the pipe is pretty tight right now, but at the moment though, it's too tight. It's too quiet. There's not enough being said right now, and they haven't really said much for almost the entire month. This month has gone by so fast because everyone's just searching on Twitter for like Xbox Series X pre-order and clicking latest. Every single day, just even though we know it's not going to be today or the day or most of the days that we search, we're still doing it. We're still looking for Reddit. We're still looking for these leaks or rumors, right? But I think it's going to happen because it happened in 2017. That's where they wanted. Was their place. I think this is so simple. That is their place. That's where they wanted to bring the attention to because they were also trying to back off a little bit from E3, but they're happy to be there and put on a show. As Phil Spencer said, they're going to come out there and show all the games and stuff, but they chose Gamescom to release the Series X pre-order for a reason. Is because that's like they need an event to do this. It has to be there. Like it just has to. And the 1S, it makes sense that would get pushed. People are saying that is for sure getting pushed back until September. Like and you know what? That's fine because they need time to hype up pre-orders for the Series X, which is gonna sell out pretty quick, right? But I don't think it would make sense for them to release both of them at the same time because it would just get people confused. It would be like, here is the Series X right here, and I still think it's going to be $500. But I mean, you and I have both been talking about that. It could have been 600 way before a lot of these people were. It just makes sense because the chipset alone is over $400. Just the chip on it. So, but I mean, they can still operate in a loss. They can still, do just fine doing that. But this whole like we're waiting for Sony to reveal theirs, because if people are online when you read the comments, they're getting frustrated and saying, "Oh, can they just stop giving each other the stare down right away?" Yeah. They act like it's such a sure thing that's what it is. In my opinion, it's just not professional. It's just not how an actual company would do things. Like they're not just going to play fast and loose with their main, moneymaker here, and that's the PS5 and the Series X. It's just bad business to be that loose with it.
Right. I think people are underestimating the fact that COVID would have on production, and so I think they're both doing everything in their power to make sure that it gets out during the holiday season 2020, and they are desperately working to make sure that there are no delays. So
right.
I think that's a lot of the reason why they haven't announced a price yet, because once you put a price on it, it becomes real.
Yeah.
So absolutely. If there's any wiggle room for them to push it back a little bit, that's what they would use.
We saw. Go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, I was just going to say, there are some big, interesting names there, too, at Gamescom this year. You have EA, Facebook, Ubisoft, Xbox, Bethesda. Obviously, Sony is not going to be there. Facebook Gaming was the one that was really interesting to me. Because after Mixer had died, a lot of those guys moved over to Facebook Gaming. Not the big names, not Ninja or Shroud or anything.
Yeah.
But a lot of the smaller guys had moved over to Facebook Gaming. So I wonder if Facebook Gaming is going to kind of come really hot and heavy.
A lot. No one wants to start their huge streaming gaming career on a social network, where they see their grandparents on all the time, right? But like Facebook already made an announcement saying we're going to be. I don't know if you noticed it when you logged in, but I noticed a couple of days ago saying we're going to be changing how this looks in a big way, and so we'll see. We would like to invite you to try it out, blah, 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 all this stuff. So I hope they're going to change things and make things cool. My main complaints just right out the back is everyone's just saying, oh, Facebook. But I'm just going to say what I really have a problem with. It's too busy. There's too much stuff going on. My grandparents are on there. Like some of these things, like all people want to talk about is politics and complain. Not that there's anything wrong with discussing politics, whatever. But like I want to share stuff. I want to share interesting articles, science, gaming, just fun stuff on there. And there are people who do that, but for the most part, it's there for people just to bust each other's jimmies. Like that's how I feel. It's like that's where fights start. Like on Twitter, especially, is also very. I don't want to say violent.
Twitter's worse because of the character cap. Yeah. So people are a lot more vitriolic on Twitter because they only have what is it now, 280 characters
to
say what it is, what they want to say.
Gotta be
so they just
precise.
add "you bitch" at the end for effect.
That's right. That's right. Yep. And you can like things twice on Twitter. You can just like it, unlike it, and like it again. I had a couple of celebrities I was talking to on there. They did that when they liked something I said about them. I thought that was kind of funny. It would show. This has happened like 2 or 3 times to me. Like it's weird when you see Vincent D'Onofrio like your tweet like 2 or 3 times because you said something. The Kingpin approves of it. But,
so one of the other surprises that I think that we might see, now this was leaked, it looked like for the Switch and PlayStation, is the Prince of Persia.
Oh yeah,
there was a Guatemala photo. It appeared like it was the retail release of the Prince of Persia, kind of like a remake.
They gotta keep their house in order. Like Jesus Christ,
yeah.
that would have been a big one.
Leaks, but yeah, that definitely that. And then also I saw this on Reddit, so if this is Reddit, be careful.
Oh Lord!
But the Twitter page does exist. It's at TMNT Game for the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. So
if we guess like the Super Nintendo versions is kind of what I'm thinking of. Did you ever play those? They were fun. That was like actual couch co-op. You could be
right. Yeah, it was the linear kind of 2D pathing.
Yes,
where you would walk into a room. You fight people.
And there was like turtles in 3D, something like that. I can't remember, but it was fun, man. We need a lot of that nostalgia back. We need these good shows back.
I was really surprised. They recently had a movie not that long ago. I want to say in like 2016, 2017.
Oh, that's right. Megan Fox played April, I think.
Yeah, it didn't do very well, but you would have thought that they would make something to go along with it. Because obviously a lot of game companies and movie companies and stuff like that, they like to pair a lot of that stuff together because it kind of feeds the hype off
and
each other.
I normally would hate that, but now I want that. Like, isn't that weird?
Yeah, absolutely.
I want that now more than ever because it's not like especially with the Mandalorian, that would be so fun to be like that movie. That show was made to be a video game. Like it just feels perfect. But we'll get into that later because we've got. I don't want to say too much about that because like we've got there's a few things going on. But as far as about Gamescom, my final thought on that is that if we do not see it on Thursday, the pre-orders open up, which I swear to God, it would be the worst move ever to not do it on Thursday with this planetary alignment of Summer Games Fest ending, which is Summer Games Fest for Xbox is a big thing too because all the demos and games that they had there. And Jeff Keighley, Xbox, there's going to be something happening there. When he was looking through his tweets, and I'll just say this real quick, he was trying to answer some of these questions that people were having, and he actually was saying, well, I'll let you know what I can answer. He was saying stuff like that the whole time. If it's a question I can talk about, then I will, which means that he was told not to bring something up, about the event. And then towards the end of the event, that's where he said, well, we might have a few special surprises in store, on Thursday.
Yeah. Because outside of that, where he said that we've got a couple of surprises.
What else?
That Q&A was all fluff.
It was.
I am enjoying Fall Guys too, and that was about it, and everything else was fluff.
Yeah, that's right.
There was nothing else.
He had a nice tan. It's good to see that he's healthy running around LA.
Yes, he talked about his tan.
where the pandemic is hitting him, and he can still go out there and get some sun. I haven't been outside for 7-8 months now, here in Indy. But it's whatever. I'm taking my vitamin D. It's okay. I'm doing all right.
Okay. All right. That's good.
We've got things to do. But
I'll tell you. Somebody who didn't look like they were taking their vitamin D.
Who's that?
Recently. That was Robert Pattinson.
Emo
the
Pattinson
Batman trailer.
Yes.
Emo Pattinson.
Yeah, he was taking a lot less vitamin D than Tobey Maguire was in Spider-Man 3.
Yes. Spider-Man 3, yes, specifically Spider-Man.
Because Spider-Man 3
that little song and dance.
Yeah, he felt like dancing. He wasn't totally depressed. He could at least dance and do the little, arm roll shit.
Yeah, he reminded me of like one of those rage poets that you get, like the angry colored-haired people that just yell at the microphone.
In that trailer, when he's like looking like really mad, I was like, okay, he looks like his parents just cut him off of his funding. I can kind of get into this, struggling a little bit. They did something similar with Bruce Wayne in the when he was going up against Bane in the Dark Knight trilogy, and they shut his power off in his mansion. So, that was when, SJWs were getting pretty heated too. That's when things started kicking off. So it's like, oh, well, we're going to go see this movie about this guy who lives in a mansion, right? Has all this cool technology, but no, it's okay, guys. He's going to lose his power. He's going to his back cave, to his house, it's tough times for everyone. Oh my God.
So Warner Brothers did have their little event. I say little. They did drop some pretty big stuff in there. Yeah. So I don't want to diminish it too much. The big one, obviously, more so than the video games, was the Batman trailer, which didn't look bad.
Yeah.
It was pretty cool to see Robert Pattinson just beat the living hell out of that guy.
So that was everyone's moment where they were like, oh my God, because my wife watched that. She felt the same way. I'm hearing everyone's reactions to it. That was the moment for everybody. It looks like, because that was just like, wow. Like they man. Sorry.
Yeah, no, I mean, you're absolutely right. It's a very gritty and dark Batman.
Yeah.
Which this is the thing that annoys me. Right. So Robert Pattinson, I'm not like a big movie guy or anything like that. I don't pay attention that much to actors and stuff. I don't know anything that Robert Pattinson has been in since Twilight. Right. So, and I'm sure I'm not the only one. I'm sure there's that bias kind of running around. I'm willing to give him a chance, but boy, does he look like an awkward and young Bruce Wayne. Like something doesn't feel right there. Like Ben Affleck, for all of his faults, looked the part of Bruce Wayne.
Yeah, a little plump for it, but I could not see Ben Affleck doing the move there that Pattinson did, and that because when I saw that, but like so when he punches him like right in the face and then just starts going in right away, I'm like, oh, he's getting a little serious now. But then when he follows him down to the ground, and then when he drops down to finish him off, I'm like, oh, Batman just killed a guy. I'm like, oh man, this must be before. He got yelled at, but
so one of the things that does concern me about the movie though are all of the bad guys.
Yeah,
it seems like they have a lot. So they've got Carmine. This is what I'm looking at right now for the Batman cast.
Yep,
they've got the Riddler being played by Paul Dano. They've got Colin Farrell as the Penguin, and they've got John Turturro as Carmine Falcone. I do like the casting of Andy Serkis as Alfred.
Oh, yeah.
I do like that. And I feel like he's going to be a badass Alfred.
Yeah. I even thought the one that was with Bruce Wayne was a good Alfred, too. Like the skinnier guy with I thought he was cool, too.
Yeah.
But the best Alfred was from Gotham. Hands down.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, definitely. Yeah, no, he was owning people.
He just couldn't stop killing
Batman.
He just couldn't stop killing.
Yes, definitely. So, what are your initial thoughts on Robert Pattinson being Batman? Because I know that we talked a little bit before the show about how you were pretty unsure about that.
When I was watching,
where are you with that?
When I was watching the trailer, I was like, "Oh, this is looking serious here." Okay, so there was a moment where like Batman walks in and to talk in the room to the crime scene, right? He walks into the crime scene, all the police are around him, and he's just like slow walking in, looking all serious and shit. That ambience that was in the room right there, it really pulled me in. I was like, who is this guy? Because I literally had no idea Robert Pattinson was going to be Batman. I like to follow this stuff a lot too. IMDb, I'm one of those guys with an IMDb app in their essentials folder on the front page of their phone. I'm always into this, and I always want to know what's going on. But with everything going on with the Series X, I was just too preoccupied looking that up. But back to what I was saying about them, it really pulled. I was like, who is this dude? Like Nirvana, by the way, that the music was great. Like they obviously edited out the part where it's okay to eat fish because they don't have any feelings, but it was just okay. I get that, but like the music just really fit that. And so when he walked in, I was like, oh man, this is looking good. It's looking really serious. And then when I saw Batman beat the crap out of the guy, I was like, oh. And then when I saw him kill that guy, I was like, what the hell? Who is this guy? Like I had no idea. And then he took it off. He takes off they show his face or whatever. I'm like, is that who I think it is? And I still wasn't even convinced who that was until my wife told me, yeah, that's gonna, That's Robert Pattinson. He's going to be Batman. I'm like, holy shit! I was confused to say the least.
He almost kind of looked like the guy from Peaky Blinders.
Oh yeah. I started watching that.
Murphy.
Yeah, I started. Murphy. Dude, Cillian Murphy has the most vicious of headbutts, doesn't? Like that guy is a badass.
The only thing that is getting a little bit I love Batman. Batman has always been one of my favorite heroes without a doubt. In any universe.
Like that's
I think DC has always fallen short of Marvel, but I definitely think that Batman is the one that can compete the most.
Yeah, well, DC cleaned house too lately with their with their editing team, their comic book writers specifically. I think they see an opportunity with what Marvel was doing and right now, and how crazy woke they're going. I think DC is going to. This is their moment to strike because they need to have the top hand on the bat, and this is how they do it. Like
they laid off a third of their staff. A third. That is. Damn. I mean, you don't see that hardly ever.
Right. And it was for a very good reason. You hate to see people lose their jobs, but at the same time, you don't want all your favorite childhood memories ruined by by all this that's going on.
Yeah. The only thing I was going to say is that the thing that's frustrating with Batman is that I feel like they've done it so many times already.
Yeah.
Since the Dark Knight trilogy, it's just been Batman after Batman after Batman, and they keep changing it.
And every time.
Yeah, go ahead.
I was going to say that. I just want to say this one thing. And every time they do redo Batman, how many times have we gotten to see the Waynes get wrecked? Like, at the beginning of every rendition of Batman that we see. Like, Jesus.
To me, it's very lazy storytelling.
Yeah.
With the multiverse, because they know that they can get away with it. They can throw out a crappy Batman, and they know at the end of the day, if it's received poorly, they don't have to build off of it. Because they can just go back into the multiverse.
they can just put it back in the vault, and we'll take something else out. I can't wait to see
Here's
Batman
another
with guns. That's right. When do we get to Batman with guns? that's what I want.
Well, we get to some characters with guns. Gotham Knights gameplay was released.
Yeah, that looked really good, man. It did, but at the same time, I'm just one of those guys who wants to play as a dude. Out there a couple times, I'll be okay, but like at the moment, like I need a choice. But like the hand-to-hand combat with the nunchucks and stuff, that was looking really good. And so my point is, like this might be a first time I might actually play, to try out Batwoman in that game because some of those moves were looking really good.
Yeah, absolutely. The gameplay mechanics looked solid. We should know that they're going to be solid because of Arkham Knight.
Yes.
Those games always play really well. They're very dark. They're very gritty, and it feels almost. Dude, hopefully they can pull it off better than Ubisoft, but it almost feels like they're taking a very popular single player game, like how Assassin's Creed was, and turning it into a multiplayer.
Yeah.
So it seems like that's the direction that they're going in. I don't know if they've stated that explicitly. Maybe they have. That seems to be the direction that they're going in, which should be fun to be able to play a game like that with your friends, which is always kind of the weird spot you find yourself in when you have a really good single player game.
Well, that's what we're saying. Like that's what a lot of gamers have been saying now, and we're getting that. We got Battletoads couch co-op game. People are talking about Ninja Turtles game. I don't know how that can't be. Avengers is going to be the same way too. Like Avengers was really fun. It was fun playing that game. I really. Iron Man's my dude. Like I'm sitting on an Iron Man gaming chair right now for Marvel. Like that's my racer chair, or whatever. And it's got Tony's Iron Man's face on the back of it. It's awesome. But like I really had fun playing as Thor though. Also, but who can go fuck themselves? The Incredible Hulk. All right, dude, I was trying to I died like sixth embarrassed. Like I've beaten top kids in the world in certain games that shall not be named. But I was the Incredible Hulk trying to get on a bridge, and I kept falling off over and over and again. I was about to turn it off. Then we finally got past that, and then I was still like an even lesser of a being, Bruce Banner, falling around, whoever. Like I don't know what's the new vice presidential nominee, Kamala something with
Kamala Harris.
Yeah, with big hands. And like she can just make her hands as big as she wants and just slap all kinds of people.
Yeah, no, there's a lot that we're going to get into with Marvel's Avengers soon. The only other thing I wanted to touch on the Warner Brothers was Suicide Squad game.
Yes, I have not seen anything about it. I really want to see that. I really do.
It looked pretty cool. It was all about destroying the... I'm drawing a blank here. The Justice League. That was like their whole kind of like thing in there. So that'll be fun. It's not going to come out until 2022. So it feels a little bit too early.
Okay, Halo.
Yeah, Jeff Keighley kind of touched on that a little bit in his Q&A when he talked about how some games maybe release things a little bit early. I definitely think that was the case, but it is interesting to see that there is a Suicide Squad game.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially since Margot Robbie. I mean, she is gorgeous.
I was watching a David Blaine skit and Margot Robbie was on there, and he blew her mind. It was just a little side thought, but I was one of those guys who actually liked the Suicide Squad movie. I'm not a big DC guy, right? But I thought it was fun. I thought it did what it needed to do. It told the story it needed to tell. It was cool. I'm not really sure what people really didn't like about it, but it's unfortunate that a lot of people were disappointed. But that just means that the next thing that comes out for it, this has a chance of being all right. And that's something I'll probably play. The Suicide Squad game. It looks pretty fun. But Avengers, I don't know if I'm going to get that game or not.
Really? Because I am definitely going to get it. So.
Okay, I'll get it. All right, I'll get it. Right, but I don't know how much I'm going to play it. I should say, as far as like this campaign goes and things like that. If there's like an open world kind of game, like I would love to be Iron Man. Just fly around all the time. So it will be open.
Yeah, for the most part. So the way that it seems like it's going to work is, and they talked about this.
It was real linear. Like when I played the beta.
Well, yeah, the beta is very linear because you're playing against the main antagonist in there.
Yeah.
So think of it like Skyrim in the way that you complete like the Dragonborn quest, for example, right? So like that's the main quest of the game, is becoming the Dragonborn, right? But you have all this other stuff that so AIM, which stands for Advanced Idea Mechanics.
Yeah, AIM.
Yes.
That was great though, seeing them as the enemy.
Is the main antagonist.
American Online.
They're different from Hydra in that Hydra is very in your face with military brute force.
Yeah.
Where they want to show off their big weapons and stuff like that. AIM, they kind of have this idea that everybody should be equal, and they kind of take that to the extreme. So they want the superheroes of the Marvel Avengers and the superhumans and stuff like that. They want to be on an even plane. And so they have I guess you could say a sympathetic AIM, but the way that they go about it is horrendous. And so that'll be the main story. But you are still free to like branch off and build characters and do a whole bunch of other stuff. That's
what I like doing. Just the non, like even in games like Fallout and stuff that was huge stories, I would always like to go around and get as neutral as I can with all the factions and like get all the gear and stuff and not really pledge allegiance to one side. So that way I could just explore, do my own thing, get all the benefits of it. And if they can do, I'm not saying there's going to be factions or anything in Avengers, but if I'm able to just fly around in an Iron Man suit, or bash people, or Captain America, that was great too. Playing as him, that was some really good Winter Soldier type shit there. They took the best version of Captain America right there, and when they put him in that game. But like, it's going to be a fun game. I'm definitely we're probably going to be playing it together a lot. But as far as like campaign stuff and like playing that over and over again, I'm probably not going to play it that much. So I guess I shouldn't have said I'm not going to buy it. I mean, of course I'm going to buy it, but like as campaigns and stuff, we'll see. I did not like that it was a lot of like latch onto this guy, press X, press Y, press X again. That stuff bugs me. Save that for Need for Speed. Like I don't need that here.
There are going to be skill trees. So you are going to be able to customize your character to your liking to some degree.
Which I don't know. That's great. That would be really good.
Yeah, I don't know if it's one of those things where you'll be able to unlock everything or if you'll have to make like tough choices. Yeah. I'm not sure about that. But the developers were talking the other day. I don't want to say it was a developer update, but one of the very positive things that they said was the comics come first. And that is something that I have not really heard from since the age of wokeism. Right. I have not really heard anybody say that because they're all about redefining and reinterpreting and adding, whatever identity they want into their characters, which is very lazy writing, by the way. And we'll get into that when we talk about Star Wars here in a second. But the fact that they want to stick to the comics, I think that this is fantastic because people have this misconception that the MCU, the Marvel Cinematic Universe is the beginning and end of Marvel, and that's it. But it is so much deeper, and there are so many different stories in there that they can branch off and build on.
Nice. I just wanted to say one thing about, and this is about Batman before we move on to stuff. This is about this version of that Robert Pattinson's playing of Batman. So there was the Joker movie with Joaquin Phoenix that came out, and there was the Dark Knight with obviously Heath Ledger. Amazing performance. I don't even want to say. It feels cringy for me just to say it was an amazing performance because it was, but everyone said it. But the point is, like, my wife asked me yesterday. She was like, "Which do you think was the scarier of the two?" And I was like, "Man, that's a loaded question." It's like, well, with Joaquin Phoenix's Joker, you knew everything about this guy and exactly what it was that triggered him. So you knew where he was going. You could predict his moves, what he was going to be doing. He laid it all out for you. With the Dark Knight Joker, it was a little bit different. Like, you didn't know what he was going to do. He didn't know what he was going to do if he had caught Batman. He's like, I don't want to kill you. I'm like a dog chasing a car. I wouldn't even want to know what to do with it if once I got it. And so like so his head is just right in place, but it could go anywhere. It's like 360 degrees. And the Joaquin Phoenix Joker, it was a very specific reason for what happened, and it could have been the same reason for the Joker that we saw in the Dark Knight. We don't know. We only got a little glimpse at it about what his father did to him, but that was about it. He was a guy that just wanted to watch the world burn. Didn't have any particular reason to do what he was doing. He was just that way, and to me, that the fear of the unknown right there, that is scarier than the Joker. I mean, the Joker was a good movie. Joaquin Phoenix was awesome in it. He did a really great job. But as far as like really getting into my head, like, and messing me up a little bit, it was definitely Heath Ledger's Joker. And if we see Robert Pattinson turn it around, and just like surprise us all, which he already has in the trailer, but that could just be movie magic, making trailers. Like I have all the faith in the world for that guy, and I hope it's going to be good because we need something good to talk about. Not us just for the show, but like everyone. Like we need something different. It's like, oh, did you go see that? It's like, oh yeah, that was badass. I missed that. Yeah,
especially with COVID, there hasn't been very many movies coming out that have been. You can't go to the movie theater, and it's not like the streaming services haven't been that great. I mean, we had The Mandalorian and Tiger King. The whole that's been about it.
Yeah, what we should do. We we are going to do something on the Tiger King. We should, because we both loved it, and we haven't heard anyone talk about it for a while. We did when it came out, but not now, not right now. Everyone's talking about other stuff, so we should talk about Tiger King. That sounds perfect. But so, is there anything you wanted to say before we move on to the heft here?
Just one thing.
Yeah.
So with Phoenix's Joker, like you said, there was almost this logic that you could follow, right? It was the logic of a very mentally ill person, but you could see where, like you said, where it was going. There was this succinct kind of nature to it where one action led to another and another and another. And like you could see the baby steps and like his mind starting to decay and descend into madness and darkness. Especially the scene where I can't remember the exact wording, but he goes, and I'm tired of pretending that it's not. Like that right there. Yeah. That was perfect. That's when like you really saw that turn into darkness there. With Heath Ledger's character, you're right. He was just a maniac. You had no idea. There was no logic to anything that he was doing other than what can I do to make Batman's life a living hell?
That's right.
And that's it. And that's all it was. It was some of it didn't even make sense for destroying Gotham. It only made sense to torture Batman.
Yep.
Which is, like you said, that takes that takes it to a whole nother
level. It really does. It messes with you when you think about it, doesn't it? Like, it's just like,
that he studied him so well to be able to like hit these moves perfectly every single time.
You know, I heard something creepy. It was like when he says, "How many of your guys did I kill?" or whatever in the station. He said. What he said, I think he said like 6 or something like that, and then you see him mouth something like he, and then obviously everyone thinks the Joker said like 6 or whatever, but if you put the caption on, apparently it's 10, and that is just a whole other level of cold.
Yeah, well, the first, when he really ramped it up, like you had the scene at the beginning where they're killing each other or whatever. One guy kills the next guy, which is very cruel and dark or whatever.
Oh, like, man. Yeah.
But he's crazy, so that makes sense. Right. The part that really got me was the pencil trick when he just slammed that dude's head.
It's gone.
It's like, holy shit.
He knew that. He knew someone was going to come over there. He's got a little hand-to-hand combo going on there. A little reversal.
He was absolutely.
We're going to have tryouts.
Yeah.
Man.
So, I guess our final topic will be Star Wars.
Star Wars. Jesus Christ.
So this is my baby. This is the one thing. I'm the, you are always in the Marvel comic books, which I've read a little bit of, but I'm not going to pretend to be as well versed.
Oh, I am just as passionate about Star Wars.
Star Wars
comics, I grew up with the sister a lot.
This is me. This is where I nerd out the most and where I geek out the most. And I'm very angry at Kathleen Kennedy for a lot of reasons.
Same.
Number one, the disrespect that she has shown to George Lucas.
Yeah.
That man, at the very least, deserves the respect of being listened to.
Mm-hmm.
And George Lucas himself said that they just threw his stuff in the trash. That he handed Kathleen Kennedy a script, and this is what it sounded like right after.
Yeah. Nice. And we need that sound effect.
And she just threw out everything. And so there was an article that I sent you, direct beta, that after we were done talking, this was a couple days after we last recorded, where she sits down with, let me see here, I want to make sure that I get this right, the Rap. I don't know who the Rap are, but they were able to score an interview with Kathleen Kennedy, so good for them.
Oh, man.
And there were some
probably paid them
in here that really ticked me off. So I'll put this in the show notes page. So it'll be at reactivereload.com/2. You'll be able to find this article that we're talking about. And the title of the article is Kathleen Kennedy says Lucasfilm is stepping back to assess future of franchise.
God.
And in here, they have some excerpts from this interview. I didn't watch the interview. I saw like the first minute of it and I turned it off. I can't stand the woman's voice. And so I'm just going to read some of these excerpts right here, the ones that I've highlighted here. So she goes, "Oh yeah, it's an ever-evolving process. When I personally came into this, George had already been having conversations with his previous actors, Carrie, Harrison Ford, Mark Hamill. There was a saga that the fans loved, and he never finished. He always talked about doing 9 movies, and he was ready to complete that. And so our focus had been from the beginning on finishing that saga." So what's telling here to me, and I'll let you get your thoughts on this, is the very end. It's a throwaway line, but it's very where it goes. And so our focus had been from the beginning on finishing that saga, not honoring that saga,
right?
Not completing that saga, but finishing it.
Yep.
Doing it, washing your hands with it, and throwing it away.
Yes.
And that right there is very telling about how she, from the beginning, and she's worked with George Lucas for a while. She was there during the old Indiana Jones movies as producer and just in the wings there. And for her to stab him in the back the way that she has,
right,
is got to be tough on George. But from a fan's perspective, I could have never have imagined that she would be this evil.
We've seen, you were just giving me a list of a lot of things she's been a part of, like Jurassic Park, and we have had no idea this devil was hiding Right there all along. But she has come out now, and she did her damage, didn't she? It's almost irreversible damage, right? But not according to George Lucas. That's for sure. We're gonna.
Well, yeah, and George recently. Now this is from Mike Zero's YouTube channel. You can find the video. I think he made it a day ago, or maybe 2 days ago.
He's been pumping those things out.
He has, where they talked about George Lucas firing somebody that Kathleen Kennedy liked. Now we know that Kathleen Kennedy is stepping back herself. She's not as hands-on as she was.
Is this your cat?
The failures of Disney. Yeah, and George Lucas just straight up fired this woman who had been screwing with the prequels. Now, the prequels are a little sensitive for George Lucas because he pretty much sold Star Wars because of the hate that he got for the prequels, which I absolutely love the prequels. I think the people that hated on the prequels were crazy, and I think that there was a lot of stuff that a lot of people didn't realize.
Pod Racer was my all-time favorite video game when I was younger. I wanted to come back, and I think this would be the perfect time. Star Wars Pod Racer, man, it was great.
Yeah. But so George fired this lady, and Kathleen Kennedy was not happy. Number one, she was probably upset because he dared fire a woman. You can't do that in 2020.
That's right.
Not at Disney anyway.
Girls got to eat, you know.
And it shows, although Kathleen Kennedy's been around George Lucas for a long time, it shows how little she knows about Star Wars. And what I mean by that is in the next excerpt from this article here. So she goes on to say that Lucasfilm creatives need the time to step back and really absorb what George Lucas has created. This is very troubling.
Yeah.
You bought Disney. When I say you, I mean Disney. Bought Lucasfilm in 2012. We are 8 years into the future.
Yep.
And now the person you put in charge of this is absorbing George Lucas's content. Why wasn't this done at the beginning? And I mean, I'm not surprised when you look at the disaster that the sequels have been, that this is the case. But it's one of those things where every once in a while, a little grain of truth drops from the devil's lips.
Yeah.
You know? And right here. So she goes, stories have been told within this universe over the last 40 odd years. And there's now the realization that this is a mythology that actually spans about 25,000 years. Which, if you know anything about Star Wars, it's much deeper than that. I mean, it goes back really, really far. Probably like a million years back. Really, like you could make the argument there.
Lightsabers work for a very long time.
Yeah,
they've been efficient. Hey, if it ain't broke.
And then she goes, when you really start to look at the different stories that have been told, whether it's in the books and the games, we just need the time to step back and really absorb what George has created. She goes on to then say, there's so many fans out there and so many filmmakers that have been influenced by Star Wars for so long. It's a fantastic opportunity to get a sense of who wants to be part of this. So that's what we've been doing.
Wow.
No, you have not. You have not been doing that. Because if you had been doing that, you wouldn't have thrown the franchise away and done your best to try to murder it, especially in 8. Especially in 8.
Yeah. Don't get me started on The Last Jedi. Mary fucking Poppins. Oh my God.
8 was so bad that you had to rewrite 9 3 times and bring back Palpatine.
Yeah. Yep.
You still screwed up because you cut the scene where Hayden Christensen would have appeared as a Force ghost, and you completely rewrote the rules. I mean, what the hell is the point of killing yourself, which is what Luke Skywalker did, which is apropos because they killed his character.
Right.
But what is the point of dying and becoming a Force ghost if you can reach out and grab a lightsaber? And if Yoda can make a streak of lightning come down and kill the Jedi text and stuff like that? Like, what distinguishes you from being a ghost or being alive at that point if you can physically touch stuff and like just lift an X-Wing from the water? Like, what is the point?
So when The Last Jedi was actually one of the longest movies that was shot. I think it had there was maybe 3.5 hours or something like that. I know I'm not being too accurate about that, but there was a lot more of The Last Jedi that could have been shown. And what they're doing now is they're re-editing The Last Jedi. They're going to keep The Force Awakens the way it is. It's the current plan, but they're going to be building upon The Last Jedi. They're going to just get in there and just toss the salad, the shit crap salad that was The Last Jedi. They're going to do the same thing to the Rise of Skywalker. And like when you see it should have been her. Like she came back from somewhere shortly when they were done filming The Rise of Skywalker and saw that some scene wasn't the way she liked it. So some of the editors were saying if the kissing scene looked weird to you guys, it's because Kathleen Kennedy made us reshoot a lot of this, and she couldn't get everybody back in there. She couldn't get the whole team to finish up, and they didn't have enough time to do it. But at any cost, she was going to have the ending of the movie a certain way that she wanted it. But it should be a big red flag to Kathleen Kennedy when they're filming like an extra hour or almost 2 hours of the movie that that you're supposed to be in charge of. She should have seen that coming, because it looks like the crew and a lot of people involved were trying to actually put a Band-Aid over a lot of the stuff that she is nitpicking at within the movie. Like the SJW scene where it's like, yeah, it felt good to make him hurt, was the most awkward scene I've ever seen. It's like, why are they down here and doing this? Like when you see Rose wreck Finn's car just so she could save him and be the hero and say this. So what she did was she stole Finn's hero moment from him. and then she jumped in and saved the day. And I don't think we should get started on the purple haired lady, because all this has been talked about in many other YouTube videos. But the fact is that millions of people are hip to this now. They know what's going on. It's no longer a situation where I'm talking to a random people in Xbox Live party thinking that I'm just the crazy person in the room saying, what is up with it that only the women can be the heroes and the enemies and the villains or whatever in the Star Wars universe. Even in the games, it was getting that bad too. And it's to the point now where it's borderline extremism. But people keep talking about this Lucas cut. First of all, there isn't a Lucas cut, but Lucas is going to go back and edit those last two movies, and it's basically going to be like his version of it. And so they're talking about doing the whole Snyder cut thing, where they're going to release it on Disney Plus and then add that in. So I think it'll be cool to watch it there, and I'll watch those things over and over and over again, and just as long as I know that they completely fucked with Kathleen Kennedy's last two movies that she really got her fingers in. And it sucks. That was my first time going to one of those Dolby cinemas, seeing The Last Jedi. I was really impressed by the theater. Man, Kylo Ren, I still think is a badass. Poe, I love him. Good dude. Even Finn's awesome. Rey,
but incredibly underutilized. Finn.
Yeah, absolutely.
And, his character had so many levels to it that they just missed out on.
And I think they did that just because he was already pretty. Whenever Finn was in the scene, though, he was funny, he was a cool guy, but you always knew he was there. He was really loud, and he probably had to be during his scenes because they didn't do enough with him. And I kind of wish they would have. But
and then Kylo really redeemed himself too.
Yeah,
where like you said, he kind of became this badass, and in a dark side Rey Jedi, where it was look, I don't think anybody is right. And we just need to end it all. And that added a lot of depth to his character after he got his ass handed to him by a newbie.
In real life, he's also a good guy. He served in the military. He goes around and helps with the veterans. He's just an overall good person. And I just don't know why he could. I mean, I guess it's his big break. It's a movie, so I guess it makes sense. But a lot of this stuff had to bug him. It bugs a lot of people, even former main stars of the franchise, like Luke and his world tour of "fuck you, I'm out." Going around all the college campuses telling people you could watch those those Mark Hamill compilations at universities and speeches for days. There's tons of them, and I love them. They're so funny when he starts talking about that. He really did not want to do that scene where he drank the milk from the udder of that thing, and that's his real facial expression. He is really that mad doing it.
And the part that really ticked him off was when he took Anakin's lightsaber.
Yeah.
And just chucked it over his shoulder.
Oh my God!
I mean, this was somebody that you fought for like you lost your arm for, you almost went to the dark side for your father, to bring him back to the light, and then for him to disrespect such a captivating weapon of the Jedi, this mystical space sword, if you will, right?
It hit me hard, man.
And his father's of all things. And then you just tossed it. And you could tell that they had changed directors, because his face from the first one, where he looked almost ashamed of like being seen in this state, because he was somewhat proud of being a Jedi, and then you offer me up this lightsaber, this is really emotional. And then in the next one, going from, I don't care, Chuck, it's gone. And again, it had a lot to do with the identity politics in Star Wars, where they had to make sure that Rey was always the shining beacon of light. You can't dare have anybody else to go in there. And this article actually goes more into that, about her. It's almost a psychotic drive for
foaming at the mouth
identity politics, and it's really sickening, and it is the root cause of the issues that Star Wars has. And right here is the most telling thing of this entire thing. Now, before I say this, I want to let everybody know, I love Deborah Chow. She did a fantastic job with The Mandalorian. I am so excited for the Obi-Wan series that she is producing and directing.
I know. I know a little bit of
directing. I know she's producing.
I know a little bit about what they're doing about that too.
Yeah, but right here it says she's talking to the Wrap, and Kennedy points out that it's, quote, absolutely a priority, post quote, when it comes to hiring women directors for the franchise. This goes back to the Force is female.
I'm glad they didn't beat around the bush. It's like, so you're doing this for women, huh?
Yeah. It's very exciting to see the talent that's come in, and we're now developing the limited Obi-Wan Kenobi series with Deborah Chow, and she's just been doing a phenomenal job. That's true. I was actually sad because I love Nia DaCosta, who was just announced to do Captain Marvel, the sequel. She's another director I've been watching, and I think she's enormously talented. Now, the part here where she says it's absolutely a priority, this is the problematic part. And it's the insulting part if you're a woman as well. Yeah, it's actually, we said something about Kamala Harris a little bit earlier, and, before we're not going to go deep down that rabbit hole. But one of the things that Joe Biden had done that poisoned the well for Kamala Harris is that he pigeonholed himself in this identity politic, and he said, I am going to pick basically, I know he said a woman, basically a woman of color, right? Yeah. Like a black woman or Latino woman or whatever. And what that does to your vice president, and what this does to producers and directors and creative just in general, when you say I'm hiring a woman, is that it diminishes their work. Because now you have to wonder in the back of your mind, if you are a normal person, in the back of your mind, you are going, did this person get the job because they're good at what they did? Or did they get this job because they happen to have the correct genitalia?
Right, and they will think that too. They'll think that about themselves. They'll have to question themselves, and they're not going to answer themselves, but they're always going to know what the answer is.
Yes, and all I want is the best person available for the job. Period. I don't care what their creed, nationality, background, gender. I don't care about any of that. They could identify as 36 genders a day. I don't care if they are the best person for the job.
Yep.
That's the only thing that should matter. And when you say that it's a priority to hire women, it makes it sound like you are saying, if there is a difference between a man and a woman, for example, and the man is better to some degree, whatever that degree may be, maybe it's a little or maybe it's a lot, I am still going to pick the woman because that's the priority. Right. The priority isn't the content. The priority isn't how good they are or how creative they are or how talented they are. The priority is the vagina. And that right there has been, since Disney has taken over, that is what has killed the Star Wars franchise. And I was glad she finally explicitly said it.
Yeah. So I just want to say one thing here about Kathleen Kennedy, about this whole mess here. I never thought I would be a grown adult raising a family in a world where when I finally got the chance to start sharing Star Wars with my daughter, because it's been a very special thing, growing up. My mom showed it to us, and we had so much fun watching those, like all the time, just like everybody else did. Like I won't go on about my personal experiences with it, because everyone has stories like that for days, and they're always really important to them. But that's literally, we didn't have like a lot of watched back then, where we grew up, and so that was what we watched. And man, I loved it so much. And to see what's going on right now. I'm a grown adult, and then all in a world where it's just boys versus girls. And it makes me lose. Kathleen Kennedy has drawn the child that is Kathleen Kennedy has drawn a line in her fucking sandbox. She is the one who needs to wake the fuck up. This is a different kind of wake.
Yeah, but with all that, there is hope. A new hope, you could say. So Kathleen Kennedy is stepping back. It doesn't appear that they're going to extend her contract out past 2022, which is when it expires. They are positioning Dave Filoni, who did a lot of The Mandalorian. He did the Clone Wars series, which is good. He did Rebels too. We can get into that at a later point. I know Rebels wasn't the greatest, but there's a lot of reasons why that was. It had to be tailored it was on Disney television, so it had to be tailored towards, T7. So that's, kids. It couldn't be, there was a lot of restrictions that he was working. So I'm willing to give him a pass on that. But Mandalorian was fantastic. Clone Wars, especially this final season, was fantastic. Good. Jon Favreau is also
so good, being
put on a pedestal, and so is Deborah Chow, who we talked about doing the Obi-Wan Kenobi series, and all of them were basically together. They were basically in complete control.
The Holy Trinity, if you will,
of the Mandalorian, and the Mandalorian was absolutely fantastic. I mean, there wasn't all the episodes rather were on such a high level. To critique them is to really get nitpicky. You really, really have to get nitpicky, where you're like to the point of, well, I don't know if it'd be like this in the comic. You know what I mean? Like it would have to be very abstract, because other than that, it was absolutely awesome. And then the other bit of hope was the Jedi Fallen Order. I don't know if you've played it. I have played it. The story in that game was fantastic.
I haven't played it yet. I was waiting for the Series X to get here.
Stig Asmussen was the executive director of that game, or I guess developer, you would say. He worked on the God of War series for PlayStation, for Sony. So, I mean, that guy knows storytelling. So if they can get with him more on telling stories, I am really excited, happy about that.
That would be
And
great.
We do have, to get back to the video games and to close it out maybe with video games.
Yeah.
Star Wars Squadron.
Okay.
Is coming.
Okay.
Did you see that?
I'm okay. I am getting triggered already. So there's
really
okay. So I was really, really excited about Star Wars Squadron, and we only have a little bit of time left here, but I just want to say that the fact have you seen the trailer for Star Wars Squadron?
I did. It seemed a little bit lacking. There wasn't going to be that much to do, and. Go ahead. What else?
Is this the game, right? This is the game, right? We're talking. Okay,
yes.
Okay, so it's literally all women in the trailer. And then you see a couple of people there, but your boss is a woman. The most of the crew are women, and the evil villain, someone you're going after, is also a villain for the Empire. It's literally the men are the minority in this, and it really bugs me. And they still have their little paws into Star Wars, and this might be the last time. I don't know, but Space Wars, man, we play Star Wars Battlefront a lot. I love the air superiority game, the Starfighter Assault. It's been my thing since Battlefront 2, Battlefront 3. I played it for years, and sorry, I had to drink some water. But it was my game. I loved it, and I was really excited for this game, especially because the little ornaments you can put in your cockpit or whatever, and just have dress it up almost like a Elite Dangerous kind of deal inside your ship. And the combat looked good. It didn't look next gen, but it still looks like it would have been a really fun experience. But it just bugs me that I cannot pick, my own character. Maybe if I could pick my own character and customize them, maybe you can. I don't know. But the thing is, though, they're still doing their politics with Star Wars. and it's very present in that game, and it really upsets me because like I was going to get this game, but I cannot get this game if it's going to be like that. Like they're just trying too hard.
Yeah, I think the reason why I was probably so excited was because it's a throwback to Rogue Squadron.
Yeah,
on the Nintendo 64, and I loved that game. That game, I could play that game for like even now. I could play that game for hours.
Dude, flying in Star Wars is the best. Like it's like my favorite fucking thing to do. It's so much fun. Oh my god! If anyone has skipped out on Battlefront 2, before the next one comes out, just
go play it now.
Go play it. It's the best multiplayer experience you will ever have in a while, or have had in a while.
It's fixed, and I was somebody who did not play it because it was so bad at launch. I love it. It is. Yeah. It's been fixed. Whatever they got over there, fixing these things for EA right now, they need more projects.
It is gorgeous. It is so gorgeous. A game.
Yep.
Looks like we're gonna have to wrap it up there. Thank you guys for coming. Hopefully there's going to be a lot more. Hope you liked it. You can follow the show at Reactive Reload on Twitter. You can follow me at The Irish Cowboy, No Take Backsies, and Crossover at Reactive Branded. You guys have a good day, night, whatever the hell time it is you're watching this. We fucking love you.